Hello Biafrans and lovers of freedom across the globe. Welcome to Biafra Battle Cry TV, your
The release
uncompromising...
of the 11 Nigerian troops should have closed the chapter. Instead, it opened a far more unsettling one. Their aircraft entered Burkina Faso's airspace without authorization, landed under opaque circumstances, and triggered an immediate military lockdown across the capital. For a region already strained by fractures between ECOWAS and the Sahel states, the timing could not have been more dangerous. Officials later described the landing as a technical emergency, yet military analysts quickly pointed to inconsistencies in the flight path, the troop manifest, and the silence that followed the incident. Inside Burkina Faso's security circles, the key question was never why the plane malfunctioned. It was why it appeared where it did, carrying soldiers whose mission remained unclear. Releasing the troops was not a sign of weakness, it was a strategic decision made after a rapid intelligence assessment and a message to every external power watching West Africa's new alignment take shape. The soldiers returned home, but the doubts, the suspicions, and the geopolitical ripples stayed behind. And those ripples are now shaping the real story. I speak to you today because the incident involving the 11 Nigerian troops did not appear out of nowhere. In our region, nothing happens without a chain of actions beneath the surface. When that military aircraft entered our airspace without authorization, every alarm we had built for the protection of our sovereignty activated at once. As president, I do not have the luxury of assuming good intentions. I must defend the integrity of our land, our people, and our future. When my commanders informed me that the plane had landed in Ouagadougou, I asked one question. Are we dealing with an accident or a mission that was never declared? That question shaped every decision that followed. The soldiers were detained, questioned, and assessed. Not because we sought confrontation, but because Burkina Faso has reached a point where we allow no room for uncertainty. The Sahel is under pressure from every direction. Any mistake can open the door to destabilization. People outside our borders saw the release of the troops as the end of the matter. They were wrong. What happened inside our operations room was far more revealing. The inconsistencies in the flight report, the unusual route, the silence from those who should have informed us ahead of time. These details forced us to treat the event as a potential breach rather than a simple malfunction. We needed clarity before we allowed anyone to return home. Some will say we acted aggressively. I say we acted responsibly. Burkina Faso has been targeted before by hidden agendas, by unannounced flights, by intelligence operations masked as humanitarian movements. I carry the memory of every incident that cost our soldiers their lives. I will not repeat the errors of past governments that trusted the wrong forces and paid in blood. Releasing the troops was not an act of softness. It was a decision grounded in the information we gathered and the stability we intend to maintain within the Sahel Alliance. We showed that we will respond firmly when our sovereignty is breached, yet we will also choose diplomacy when the truth clears the fog. But let me be clear to every neighbor and every power watching. Burkina Faso will question anything that threatens our security. We will challenge anyone who tests our borders, and we will respond with unity, discipline, and conviction. Because this incident was only the beginning of a larger game unfolding around us, and I intend to expose that game piece by piece. When the plane touched down without clearance, it was not the aircraft that concerned me most. It was the silence that followed. In West Africa, silence is rarely accidental. It usually signals hesitation, confusion, or an attempt to hide intent. For several hours, neither Abuja nor ECOWAS provided a clear explanation for the presence of their troops on Burkinabe soil. That silence told me something was unfolding behind closed doors, and it was my responsibility to understand what. Inside our command center, every detail was placed under scrutiny. The flight's path did not match the official story. The communication logs showed irregular pauses. Even the state of the aircraft raised questions about whether the malfunction was genuine or used as a cover. I told my generals that Burkina Faso would not accept narratives that do not align with the facts. We have survived too much deception to return to blind trust. During the questioning of the 11 troops, my priority was not to humiliate them nor to create conflict with Nigeria. It was to establish clarity in a region where misinformation is often deployed as a weapon. The soldiers appeared disciplined, but unsure of how much they were permitted to reveal. That alone signaled that the mission carried layers beyond what was shared publicly. I will not disclose every detail of what was learned, not because I fear consequences, but because national security demands discretion. Yet I can say this. There were elements that did not align with a simple emergency landing, and that knowledge shaped how we responded. Our decision to release the troops came after three strategic considerations. First, escalating the situation would have opened the door for ECOWAS actors who are waiting for any excuse to paint Burkina Faso as unstable. Second, the Sahel Alliance values predictable cooperation within the region, even when tension arises. Third, we had already achieved what mattered most. We asserted our sovereignty and made it clear that no military force enters our territory without explanation. I chose to release the soldiers because Burkina Faso had already won the most important battle. We demonstrated discipline, intelligence, and control. We showed Africa that the new Sahel does not panic, does not bow, and does not react blindly. But we also uncovered signals that this incident is part of a wider pattern, a pattern that threatens the balance of power in West Africa. And now that pattern must be addressed. In the days following the release of the 11 Nigerian troops, many asked why Burkina Faso reacted so decisively. They forget that our nation stands at the center of a silent contest for influence in the Sahel. Every move on our soil is watched, interpreted, and measured by actors who want to shape West Africa's future without ever stepping into the light. This is why I say the incident was not an isolated mistake, it was a test. Someone wanted to see how far Burkina Faso would allow its sovereignty to be stretched. The pattern has been clear for months, flights skirting close to restricted airspace, intelligence reports showing unusual coordination between foreign operatives and regional political actors, statements from ECOWAS hinting at pressure that does not match their public diplomacy. These signals form a chain, and the unauthorized landing fit neatly into that chain. I knew it the moment my commanders informed me of the aircraft's registration. What concerned me most was not the soldiers on board, but the possibility that their presence was designed to collect information or assess our readiness. Nations have used such tactics for decades. A so-called emergency landing becomes a convenient cover for observing responses, testing defenses, or measuring political unity. Burkina Faso cannot afford to ignore these possibilities, especially when our enemies hope for even the smallest crack in our resolve. Inside Nigeria, there are factions pushing for alignment with foreign interests that oppose the Sahel Alliance. I do not blame the Nigerian people. They are our brothers. I speak of political forces who still cling to the idea that West Africa must remain dependent, divided, and vulnerable. These groups know that a united Sahel challenges their influence, so they watch us, they probe us, they wait for weaknesses. This is why our response was disciplined. We acted firmly, but not recklessly. We allowed no chaos, no panic, and no emotional reaction. My intention was simple. Burkina Faso must show that it is no longer a weak state that can be manipulated or intimidated. Every move must reflect strength and clarity. The release of the soldiers was not a sign that the matter was closed. It was a signal to the world that Burkina Faso sees the broader game in motion. What landed on our soil was not just a plane, it was a message, and now the Sahel must respond with unity. As the days passed, many external observers claimed that Burkina Faso overreacted. They speak as if they understand the dangers we face. They do not. They do not live with the memory of villages burned by insurgent groups armed by foreign interests. They do not carry the responsibility of protecting a nation that has survived waves of destabilization. Those who judge us from afar forget that Burkina Faso stands on a front line they helped create. When we evaluated the incident, I asked my security chiefs to trace every movement of the aircraft before it entered our airspace. What they found strengthened our concerns. The flight had deviated from its stated route, communication gaps appeared at critical points, the timing aligned with intelligence alerts we had received about increased surveillance attempts on Sahel Alliance military readiness. None of this could be dismissed as coincidence. Inside ECOWAS, there are leaders who still believe the Sahel countries must return to the old order. They struggle to accept that Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have chosen a new path based on sovereignty, dignity, and regional independence. To them, any opportunity to pressure us is useful. A sudden landing, an unclear mission, or a diplomatic misunderstanding becomes a tool for narrative warfare. I am not blind to this game, and I refuse to let Burkina Faso become a pawn again. Our people have changed. They no longer accept leaders who bow their heads while foreign soldiers cross our borders without explanation. They expect us to defend this land with courage and discipline. That is why our reaction was firm. It was not aimed at Nigeria as a nation. It was aimed at the forces that benefit from confusion and weakness. We will not give them that satisfaction. Diplomacy required that we release the 11 soldiers once the questioning ended and our intelligence evaluation was complete. But strength required that we send a message through our actions. Burkina Faso will not tolerate any operation that undermines our sovereignty. Every incident will be examined. Every aircraft will be monitored. Every explanation will be verified, not accepted at face value. This event made one truth clear. The Sahel is entering a new phase of geopolitical confrontation. The alliances being built are not only military but ideological. And as this confrontation deepens, our enemies will attempt more subtle moves to weaken our unity. The unauthorized landing was one such move. We recognized it, we responded, and we will remain vigilant. After the release of the 11 Nigerian troops, many assumed that Burkina Faso would simply return to routine operations. But I knew this incident would echo far beyond our borders. What happened was not just a question of sovereignty. It revealed the strategic vulnerabilities that outsiders hope to exploit. And it reminded me that every decision I take must serve one purpose: protecting the future of this nation. Inside our intelligence briefings, we discussed a scenario that concerns me more than any aircraft landing: the possibility that external actors are testing the unity of the Sahel Alliance. They know that Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have built a new front against exploitation. They know our cooperation disrupts the old networks that benefited from our instability. A sudden, unexplained military presence on our soil could easily spark mistrust between partners if handled poorly. That was the real danger, not the soldiers, but the reaction that others hoped to provoke. I refuse to let anyone divide the Sahel. Our enemies rely on fragmentation. They rely on suspicion. They rely on the belief that African nations cannot trust one another.
You just heard a message that echoes the cries of the oppressed and the resolve of the free. At Biafra Battle Cry TV, we stand firm in amplifying voices that challenge tyranny and defend humanity. Stay vigilant, stay united, and never stop speaking truth to power. Until next time, keep the fire of freedom burning.